Hello and welcome into another episode of the Flop Sports Podcast. This is episode 23. I am Preston.
And I'm Danny.
And we will be right back after another short musical interlude.
Alright guys, we are back and we're talking about one of our favorite subjects, which is Major League Soccer. Wait, what? No, we're talking about college basketball? Preston, why is this on our rundown?
Well, seeing as that is all I've been doing for the past month, I felt it was necessary to actually mention it today since really the rest of the sports world is kind of like lackadaisical right now. Like they're just kind of going through the motions while college basketball has its moment. I will be flying out to the Final Four this week to Minneapolis, where I hear it is still just so cold. And I get to freeze my butt off. But I will be covering Virginia in their first Final Four in like 35 years. So it's been quite a while, and so they'll be playing Auburn, and then the other matchup you got Texas Tech and Michigan State. People thought that after Duke lost that there is no Final Four now, but I can assure you there still is a Final Four that will be played despite the lack of Zion Williamson. I think he might even still be there because that's when they hand out the College Basketball Player of the Year, so he'll probably be there for that.
So are we done talking about it now?
Yeah, we're done.
All right. Okay, good. Because I don't know anything else other than Zion and Duke. That's all I got.
Yep. You're pretty much right in line with the rest of the national media. But one thing a lot of people in the national media do know about is LeBron. It was announced earlier this week that he will be shutting it down for the rest of the season. And according to Lakers coach Luke Walton, that was the Lakers' decision. They actually had to convince LeBron to sit out the rest of the season. You buying that, Danny?
Well, I'm pretty sure Space Jam 2 started filming this week, and he really had to go. But no, I think if they had to convince LeBron, the conversation was, LeBron, do you want to play anymore this season? And LeBron said, I don't think so. And that was it. That was the whole conversation. I don't think they had to convince him to stop.
I mean, honestly, it's only like 6 games. It's not even that big a deal. It's like they're already out of the playoffs. None of the rest of the good players are playing right now, really. And so, like, why would you want to keep playing games with Rondo and Stevenson and whoever else? Like,
hey, Rondo's a great player.
Hey, just finish out the season and bring some better players in next year. Also, he will be passing on the World Cup, the FIBA, not FIFA, FIBA. It's like Phoebe and Phoebo.
No more soccer for LeBron.
Yeah, he will be passing on the World Cup. But he said that the Olympics are still in play. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I heard that Field of Dreams 2 is filming over the summer, so that really gets in the way of FIBA. But no, I mean, we all know LeBron has more minutes than any NBA star we've ever seen. So it makes sense that at this point he should take a break in the off season.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. And plus, I think the World Cup has always been a better opportunity for some of the younger guys. Guys like possibly Zion Williamson, who has been they're gonna see if he wants to play, and I think that could be a great opportunity for him. I remember Anthony Davis also played on. He might have played on the Olympics team right out of Kentucky. So it's a good opportunity for these guys to kind of head into the league with some good experience on hand. All right, that last of the big three, we get into some NFL news. They had the coaches meeting, the league meeting this past week. Sean Payton said there that a lot of teams are making a mistake trying to find the next Sean McVay. We've made fun of this at length over the past couple months or so as teams were getting their coaches. And Sean Payton also said, we're excited to play those teams.
He also came out and he said he would go to those teams and be like, hey, are you interested in young Bill Belichick or young Tony Dungy, and they're like, no, we want Sean McVay.
I mean, it's so true. It's like everyone sees, all right, well, this is what's working right now. So that's the only thing that can work right now. When it's like, that's not even close to being true. Like, find the best guy for the job and fill out a staff around him. Like, the Falcons hired Dan Quinn. He's not an offensive mastermind. He's not even that young, but he's a good coach. He's a great leader. And they've, until recent years, they've found good offensive coordinators to put around him to kind of lead that side of the ball, like Kyle Shanahan, or maybe this year with Dirk Cutter, but not Steve Sarkisian because he was terrible. But I think there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and every team should do it a different way and do it what fits the players on the roster that they have or fits what they're trying to build towards.
Yeah, I totally agree, which is why I think most teams should be trying to find a young, handsome, offensive-minded quarterback play-calling coach.
Why is it that all the young, handsome guys are calling offensive plays? Like, there's no, you never hear like, oh, hire the young, handsome linebacker coach. You never hear that. Like, is Brian Flores not like a looker? Like, I don't think he's that bad a looking guy. I mean, Matt Patricia,
I haven't done
sure.
my data analysis on that, so I'll have to get
Yeah,
back to you.
what's the symmetry of their face look like? That tells me if they're going to be a good coach or a good quarterback or not. All right, briefly getting into some of the other NFL quick hits. Another big decision this past week was the NFL making pass interference challengeable. Obviously, a lot of that stems from the Rams Saints game and the NFC Championship game. You like the move?
Yeah, well, I think there are one or two teams in the league that like the move.
One or two. Who could
But
that
this is
be?
funny because, I mean, let's say in the case of the Saints next year, they could easily be, on the other side of this rule
Yeah,
and getting a loss. But it's
yeah.
a good rule because sometimes there are bad calls. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I only hope that for Saints fans next year they're in the same situation and it's one of their players that should be getting called for the penalty and does get called because of the rule. And then I just want to hear them say, okay, oh, like that's what it is, that's just the rule. But they won't. They'll whine and complain and be like, this should not be challengeable, like blah 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 blah. And it's like, Saints fans are the worst. I'm
maybe
sorry.
against Julio Jones or something.
I can't stand Saints fans. All right. John Gruden, our boy, friend of the pod, said he cried for 3 days after trading Khalil Mack.
Do you think this is true? Do you think he was just catatonic for 72 hours, if I did that math right?
72 hours. I think that is correct. No, I don't think he cried for 3 days. Like, that's dumb.
Maybe
Like,
that's why they were so bad.
Because he just too busy crying.
Yeah, he couldn't coach.
Never made any plays because he was just crying the whole time.
They were like, Coach, what's the play this week? And he just hands them a clipboard with teardrops on it.
I don't know. But yeah, like it's a good point. Trading Khalil Mack and they got Antonio Brown, Trent Brown, and LaMarcus Brown Joyner.
LaMarcus Joyner, A.B. Brown.
Tony Romo said he wants $10 million a year. Right now, Troy Aikman makes $7.5 million, and John Gruden used to make $6.5 million. I say he's worth it.
Oh, I agree. And also, Tony Romo's just having his day in the limelight now. Let him have it.
Like, I mean, finally, he is the best at something that he does.
Yeah.
Like, pay the man now. Like, when he got his big contract in the NFL, I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But now, like, this is what he's best at. Like, just pay him. He's, like, the best in the business. Just do it.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Another quarterback. Patriots, Chargers, and the Giants all interested in Josh Rosen. Do you think any of those teams would be a good fit for Rosen?
Is Josh Rosen good? What's his deal?
He has potential. He has potential.
Then
He was just a first.
If he has potential, he should not go to the Giants because that's where you lose your potential.
But I do like all these situations for Rosen because, like last year, he kind of got thrown into the fire with a poor coaching staff and just a bad situation in Arizona. But all these situations, look, like you'd be going behind Tom Brady or Philip Rivers or the great Eli Manning, and you'd have a chance to learn for a year, or more in Tom Brady's case, since he
Yeah,
has what, like 4 more years
yeah,
left
or
or something.
7 more years.
7, yeah. So I think any of those would be a good situation. I thought the Redskins might go for him, but they got Case Keenum instead, so they're set for like the next decade or so, right?
Yep, I think the Chargers is a really interesting spot for him.
Yeah, I do like the Chargers. He's also a California kid.
Ah,
He's from Los Angeles, and he played for UCLA, so maybe that would be the best fit for him. Some Patriots news. Never have any of that. I think that's the first time we talk about the Patriots on this podcast, right? Greg Schiano abruptly resigned from the Patriots staff, saying he needs to pay more attention to his faith and his family. That's totally respectable. I like it. And but replaced by Jared Mayo.
yeah, I mean, when
What do
I
you
was
think?
thinking of replacements, I was like, Jared Mayo's going to be the new highest ranking defensive member on the coaching staff.
Is Mayo a good looking guy? Would you describe him as a young, good looking defensive coordinator?
Yeah, he's going to start the new trend in young, defensive minded, handsome, defensive play calling coaches.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Shiano's I think is a big loss because I thought that was a good move for the Patriots. But Bill Belichick can call defensive plays. It's not a problem.
Yeah, I don't know what our defense is going to do now.
All right, and last but not least, Coach Bill Belichick was a little tight-lipped with reporters at the NFL's annual owners meeting in Arizona last week. But guess what? He was especially vocal behind the scenes on one topic he believes would benefit the game. More after this. No, I'm kidding. He wants more time to work with players in the offseason, which struck a pretty positive chord among his fellow coaches. I never understood why coaches couldn't work more in the offseason with their guys. It's like to me, it's like look, like yeah, they need a vacation and everything, but this is more like if you want to work, like work. Like don't stop people from working.
Yeah, I always felt like this is one of the underrated aspects of Belichick, and obviously I could talk about him for the next 3 hours, but when you watch a lot of the behind the scenes documentaries about him, he's not this like esoteric, distant coach. He's there with the players and he'll like
Yeah.
literally reposition them and he's working with them all the time. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, that is it for the NFL section of this. A little bit shorter this week, but it's the off season, so I mean, players can't even work with their coaches anyway. So why would we talk about them anymore? All right, but next up, we are going into the NBA award season. We have a lot of awards to hand out. Some real, some not real at all. But they're coming up next.
All right, guys, thanks for sticking around through yet another. Oh, who sponsored us? Malcolm Gladwell
Ooh,
commercial.
big fan of Malcolm.
Go buy those books. Read those words. We're back with one of Preston's favorite debates, which is NBA award season. We're starting off with the MVP race. Preston, who do you have?
I have LeBron. No, I'm kidding. He's not this year, man. Next year. I think the hands down MVP has got to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like the things that he's done for this team this year. Let me remind you, his team is first in the league right now, record wise. He's also putting up crazy numbers, and he's doing it in multiple categories, and he's doing it on both ends of the court. Unlike another guy like what's his name? I can't even remember.
LeBron.
All right, you got me there. No, I was talking about your guy, James Harden.
I'm going with Harden, and I think that a big reason for that is that the Rockets were just like they were I think, almost in last place to start the season. And then Harden was like, all right, I got this. And right now they're tied for third, I guess. If they were
Yeah.
able to finish top two or three, I don't know, it'd be such a big accomplishment, I think.
Yeah, and I think kind of at the end of the day, I think, who would be a playoff team without their player?
Well,
You think the
Milwaukee
Rockets
would,
could?
because the East is so bad.
Yeah, the East is really bad. Mike Budenholzer is probably the best coach in the league right now, which we'll get to later. But I don't know. I think Giannis just like he transforms them from this like average team to potentially a team that can challenge the Golden State Warriors. And um, I heard some people talking the other day about James Harden, and it's kind of like like Giannis is like more of the prototypical MVP candidate, where like they're on this great team.
Yeah.
Um, but in James Harden, his MVP candidacy is it's kind of new because Russell Westbrook, when he had the triple double, averaged that for the whole season the first time. Um, like it was new. The stats mattered more. It was less about how good this team was and more about the stats. So I think this will be another good example of Harden versus Giannis stats versus performance or team performance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next up, Defensive Player of the Year.
Revamped, revamped. So you won't see us picking Rudy Gobert on this podcast.
No, never.
All right, why don't you go ahead first? Tell me who you got.
All right, I've got the league leader in steals and deflections, Paul George.
That's not a bad pick. I don't think he's been as good as of late though.
Well, he broke his shoulder. What do you want from
I want him not to break his shoulder. My guy is Giannis. He's one of the top players in the league as far as protecting the rim and also defensive efficiency for a player. He's got it all. Like the numbers, the statistics, the analytics, they all point towards Giannis. But I don't even know if he'll be like a top 5 vote getter for this award. That's why we are revamping the award. So he
Revamp.
wins, right? Revamp. Sixth man of the year. I think this one's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's Jeff Green.
Obviously, we're going with Lou Williams here.
Yep.
Like his team is going to the playoffs, and he might be the best player on the team, and he's still coming off the bench.
Yeah. No, it's all Lou Williams, because every time I look at the box score for the Clippers, I'm like, no one in the starting five scored. How'd they get 130 points? And then it's Lou Williams, 30 points off the bench. I'm like,
Yeah.
There it is.
Probably could have been an all-star this year, but
Yeah.
Rookie of the year. I took a different take just to be contrarian, but you took the popular one,
Yep.
which is
Luka Doncic.
you're so close. You're
The
so
Fox.
close. Luka Doncic. Yeah, and he's more than deserving of the award, but I would say Trae Young has been incredible. I think you're rewarded for how you finish the season, not how you start. And I think no one's been hotter than Trae Young to end this season. Hitting game winners against the Bucks, no less. So like Young has just been fantastic, and I'm really excited about his future. I think Doncic will get it, but for me right now, I'd pick Trae Young.
Yeah, I think whoever scores the most points in the last game of the year should get the award.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. But it's kind of weird because everyone said after that Mavericks Hawks trade that like, oh, the Hawks got robbed, and it's like, did they? Because Trae Young's still a really good player. Plus, they get the Mavericks draft pick this year.
Yeah.
Like, is it that bad of a deal? I don't think so. I think that's a deal where both teams win. Coach of the year. I have Mike Budenholzer, of course, because what he's done with the Bucks is just incredible. He's transformed them from the gross, nasty basketball of Jason Kidd, which probably isn't even a system, and he has turned it into this beautiful basketball. So I got Bud as my coach of the year.
Nice. Well, I was like an underdog, so I had Nate McMillan coaching a pretty average Indiana roster to probably a top four seed in the East. I'm impressed.
Yeah, especially after he kept him up there after Oladipo went down. So that's pretty
Yep.
impressive on his part. I wasn't sure about the McMillan hire when they first hired him, but he's turned into a really good coach there. How about this? We are now getting into the fake awards slash better awards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so
Revamped.
least valuable player that is a star.
All right.
Who do you
I
have?
I have Kevin Love.
Why Kevin Love? He's barely played.
Because Kevin Love's been the least valuable player that's a star for like 4 years now, maybe his whole career. I love Kevin Love, but
No, I
he,
think you're right. He is not. He is not the most efficient player for me this year. I pick on Draymond Green because I feel like he has regressed like big time this year. Like he wasn't even close to being an All Star this year. And like defensively, sure, I think he's still there defensively. Maybe not as much in the regular season, but I mean he's still got that ability. But offensively, his shooting has been terrible this year. He's really not adding anything offensively, and like teams are being able to like lay off of him, and he's more of a he kind of hurts them at times out there on the court. Maybe not as much as Boogie Cousins when he's out there on the court, but I decided not to pick on Boogie for one podcast. All right,
yeah,
best storyline.
Oh, I
Yeah,
was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say Draymond definitely is also in the running for player that forgot how to shoot a 3-pointer this year award. So
uh, Unfortunately, did not make our list of awards, but he would definitely win that. Best storyline player, and I think we have the two best guys right here for this award.
absolutely, I have Kyrie Irving because it's nonstop,
Nonstop.
nonstop.
Every week it's something new with that guy. Every week he's got something new to say. I've got Jimmy Butler, and it hasn't been as vocal as of late, but
Yeah.
like, do we remember the beginning of the season when he was just going off? Like he had the whole practice situation in Minnesota, and then like forced his way to Philadelphia, and then you thought, oh, okay, it's okay in Philly now, and then he had the whole Brett Brown thing, and like Jimmy Butler is just he's a character, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon because he's a free agent again this offseason.
Yeah, so far Minnesota, Jimmy Butler is my favorite Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I have most clutch player award, and I can't believe I put my answer first, and I can't believe you took you took the guy you did. You just flipped it on me, didn't you?
I really did because I took Giannis because I was doing a little research, and in clutch possessions he scores 1.395 points per possession, and in crunch time situations he averages 38 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block, while hitting 70% of his shots. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna go Giannis just because of what he does on both sides of the court in those clutch situations. Like he gets blocks and steals and whatever. But the reason I didn't and I picked James Harden instead is because free throws. Like
Mm.
I think if you want someone on the line in that situation, you want James Harden on the line. Maybe Steph, but I picked James Harden here. He's had some great shots this year as well. All
Yeah.
right, now the least effort given award. Who do you have?
Oh, well, I have John Wall because he is in contention for this award every year.
He hadn't even played that much this year, so no effort there, right?
His whole thing is that we expect too much from NBA players, so he wants to change that system by trying less.
Yeah. All right, I did not put my answer down specifically because I didn't want you to see it beforehand, but I just wanted to say it. LeBron James. I, it's got to be LeBron this year. I mean, like he's put like I don't think it's been a consistent thing. Like he's put in some great effort over the year, but like just like when Kuzma was pushing him out to actually play defense, and like you could just see like as the year went on, even after he said, "All right, playoff LeBron activated," it never activated. Like he wasn't giving as much effort, and that probably has a lot to do with the injury. I don't want to harp too much. I've never said any negative anything negative about the guy, so this is really hard for me right now. But I would go with least ever given to LeBron this year. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I like how you came out swinging and then really pulled it back
Yeah,
throughout your.
no, I couldn't follow through on the swing. I couldn't follow through. It was more like a check swing, and like the ball hit off my bat. It was like a bunt almost. All right, should be out of the league already award. Some great candidates here, honestly.
There really are, and I had a lot of good options. J.R. Smith
Yeah.
is a great choice.
Yep.
There's so many, but I went with Greg Monroe because I'm not sure he can run
Perfect.
anymore.
No, he hasn't been able to run in quite a while. I went with Amir Johnson just because every year I look at a roster and I see Amir Johnson's name on it. And like I'm like, oh wow, okay, well maybe he's just hanging around the bench. But then I see him like playing in games and stuff, and then I'm just like, oh whoa, 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 whoa.
And you're
Amir
like,
Johnson has
tippy toe Amir Johnson because he can't jump anymore. So when he has to go up for a block, he just gets up on his tippy toes instead of jumping.
yeah. I just don't think Amir Johnson is quite an NBA player anymore. All right. Next up, most likely to get swindled by his own shoe company. Danny, you had a pretty obvious answer here.
Yeah, I had Lonzo Ball because, oh wait, that did happen to him. Who do you have? Do you also have Lonzo, or do you think someone else could be getting
I
swindled?
think besides Lonzo, I mean that's pretty obvious. I would pick J.R. Smith. This just seems like something that would happen to J.R. Smith as well. Like if we're thinking about guys that it actually didn't happen to, I would say J.R. Smith.
Yeah, or Drew Brees.
Yeah, yeah. Not everyone can have a successful company like Starbury. All right, coach that knows less than Danny about strategy award.
And I don't know much.
Yeah, you don't. He really doesn't, folks. I said Jason Kidd, but he's not coaching right now. But I do think Danny would just destroy Jason Kidd. Like I think you could have taken that Bucks team to the playoffs.
I know. I would have had them trap every possession.
No, that's what he did. All right. But also Scott Brooks. And I see you also copied me on that one.
Well, yeah, because you took the two best answers. What do you expect from me?
I did take the best answers, but I want to point out like Scott Brooks and the Thunder team. Like I think he just had good players there, but when he got to the Wizards, I'm trying to remember. Randy Whitman was the coach of the Wizards before Scott Brooks took over. And Whitman had like the Wizards like in the playoffs and like they were on the upswing and everyone was like, "Oh, this is a really interesting young team." And now where are they? Like Scott Brooks has completely just taken that franchise down a peg, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all his fault too. 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely no one else on
Always.
the team.
Always his fault. All right, now speaking of Jason Kidd, a job that he has been mentioned for is this LA Lakers situation after Luke Walton is. Let's be real, he's going to get fired this year. But a new name that's popped up, and I actually like this name. I think this would be great. Is Rick Carlisle. Do you think Carlisle would leave the Mavericks? I mean, he's been there for years now, but do you think he would leave the Mavericks for LA?
First of all, excellent segue. I give that an 8 out of 10. And I like mentioning that it was a good segue because it ruins all the purpose of the segue. So we just killed all the momentum. You're welcome. But
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle, that would be interesting because Rick Carlisle hates his point guards, and LeBron's essentially the point guard. So I think that if they could get along, it would be a great fit because Rick Carlisle is like masterful on offense and very ingenuitive. Has a lot of ingenuity, however you say that word.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be interesting. I'd like to see what he could do with LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that this would be the best coach LeBron's had in his career. The best right now is Eric Spoelstra, and I think Rick Carlisle is just a little bit better than Spoelstra. Just what he's been able to do, especially with that Mavericks team that won the championship, to get that team to a championship was just nothing short but amazing. Your boy Doc Rivers, Your boy Doc Rivers celebrating clinching a playoff spot with the Clippers. Worth celebrating over?
I think so. Did you watch the video? I don't know if this is in our Instagram update, but he walked into the locker room like spraying champagne and was like quoting all the like analysts and ESPN people predicting their record from the beginning of the year and
Yeah.
how they blew it out of the water and made the playoffs. So that's just classic Doc Rivers. I love it.
Yeah, no, he's great. What a great guy. Speaking of Doc Rivers, a great segue here because I'm going to now mention the segue, and we're going to talk about his son Austin Rivers. He said, "We can win a title if the D keeps up. Is the D gonna keep up though?
Well,
Tenacious
yeah,
D."
their defensive rating is 105 right now. Before the All Star break, they were 25th with a 112 rating. And we talked about this way, way back at the beginning of the year. But when they got Jeff Bogaluski back,
Not, he just didn't even try. Jeff Bezedilek.
but it's crazy. He's made such a big difference on their defense that, yeah, I don't know what his magic spell is, but he turns them from a worst in the league to a top 5 or 10 defensive team.
His magic is he actually coaches defense because we all know Mike D'Antoni does not coach any defense whatsoever. So I think that's the magic there.
That might be it,
Yeah, it might be it. All right, some more LeBron news. He had a little bit of comments on the Lakers roster construction. What did he say? What did he say, Danny?
Apparently, a reporter asked him what he thought of the roster construction this year, and he just responded with a raspberry sound. I wish so much this was on camera. It sounds so funny.
Why are these moments not on camera? Like, come on, people. Like, I think that about sums up the Lakers roster construction, though.
Really
I don't even think you
does.
could call it roster construction. Like, I think that's a misleading word. It's like
Roster
it's like
demolition.
if Magic Johnson was asked to build a house, like it'd be just Magic Johnson just like throwing bricks off like a balcony and like, I think that's a house now.
And then finish it all up with a stick of dynamite.
Yep. Are you calling Lance Stevenson a stick of dynamite?
Yes.
Accurate. All right. We'll skip on down to some interesting news out of New York. Kristaps Porzingis accused of rape there, and Dallas says they did not have all the info on Porzingis before trading for him. I mean, obviously a lot's going to depend on what comes out of this, but initial reaction to this.
Yeah, so look, obviously, if this happened, this is awful. I think what makes this even more, I guess, impactful for me is that Dallas already had controversy centering around sexual harassment in the offseason.
Yep.
And now they're trade for a player who also has controversy surrounding sexual harassment or assault. So to me, it's like, what is Mark Cuban doing? Is he even running this team?
Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like they didn't do their homework. They got so excited about this possible trade, and they're like, well, just go for it. Like, we don't need to do homework. It's Kristaps Porzingis. Just go. And, sometimes that can come back to bite you, and it might here, it might not. Porzingis, they've already denied the allegations, but, of course, we'll see what happens and how this plays out. Switching over to the Eastern Conference now, the Bucks have been dealing with so many injuries as of late, including Giannis. He got hurt, but he was back playing again. So it seems like it's a minor injury. The Bucks won their most recent game, so I don't think it's anything to worry about. How about you?
No, yeah, I mean, hey, if they're healthy, they're the team to beat. I'm all about it. But who might be the team to beat is the Detroit Pistons because they've
No,
got
no one said that.
3-point run and gun Blake Griffin at the helm.
No one said this.
You don't think Blake Griffin can upset somebody by shooting 10 threes in a game?
No, I considered Blake Griffin for my least valuable player.
That's fair. That's actually pretty fair. He's definitely in the running for least clutch players. That's 100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. But yeah, I just no.
All right.
No Blake Griffin for me. I've been a fan, but I don't think he's anything that's gonna to help you win something really. All right, but we will be right back with an in-depth look at Tim Tebow and his run through the minor leagues, as he did not make the Mets opening day roster as we discussed a couple weeks ago, but he's still making some noise as always. So that's coming up next. All right, welcome back into the Flop Sports Podcast. Another great Brita filter break, if you will. I actually think I need to change my filter myself, but time for the Tim Tebow update, because there's no update like a Tim Tebow update, because the Tim Tebow update don't stop. So Tebow, like I said, he did not make the Mets opening day roster, but he's still having plenty of success in the minor leagues, especially with bringing in fans. So his team, Syracuse, has never seen anyone like Tim Tebow, and it's safe to say minor league baseball has never seen anyone like Tim Tebow.
Right.
Danny, you have some stats.
Oh, I got some Tim Tebow stats. I dove deep into the data, but
and not baseball stats. Not baseball stats.
These are actually really interesting. Tim Tebow has more Instagram followers than any active player in baseball.
Shoo! That's crazy.
The New York Yankees, the most popular baseball team on Twitter, have 3.36 million followers. Tebow has 4.79.
That's like, it's not even close. How
He's
does that
more
happen?
popular than the Yankees.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, we're gonna see people like walking around wearing Tebow hats now instead of the Yankee hats.
Yeah, non-team affiliated.
Like, LeBron's gonna be sitting courtside at some random game, not wearing a Yankees hat, but wearing a Tim Tebow hat. That's what it's coming to. I love this.
Awesome.
I love this one. I got a personal story about this, but when Tebow made his minor league debut in 2017 in Columbia, South Carolina, the team's average attendance was 4,773 fans, about 1,000 more than the year before he arrived and the year after he left. So obviously there's a big effect when Tebow is there. And the crazy thing is, I was actually in Augusta when this happened, and I mention that because the Columbia team would face the Augusta Green Jackets, and it was actually Augusta's opening day game when Tim Tebow came to town. It was opening day. It was the last year in that stadium before they opened a new one across the river, and Tim Tebow was there. And I think it might have been Thirsty Thursday as well on top of everything. So, like,
wow.
The tickets had been sold out for weeks, and there was a line down the block just to get in to stand. Like, it was literally, that was like one of the first times I went to something that was standing room only, and it was actually standing room only. So
yeah,
Tim Tebow has a pretty big effect.
Yeah, he's got the gravitas. It really is incredible that he can bring 1,000 more people in every game. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's insane, and he did that. He does that everywhere he goes. It's not just at home games; it's everywhere he goes. Because I remember, even for like the media, like wherever he goes in the minor league, they have like for the first game they have like a little like press conference with him, and then that's the only time you get to talk to him for that week. It's just like
Wow.
you get like 10 minutes with Tim Tebow, and there's your interview for the week. But it's crazy. All right, Elon update. We got baseball, or is this softball?
Oh, we have more tennis, women's tennis.
Tennis, gosh.
Yep, and Elon women's tennis won their last road game of the year, 6-1 at UNCW. Like, way to go, guys. Way to go.
Way to go. Anyone that stands out to you?
Yeah, Maria Paraha, who I definitely said her name right, clinched the win for the Phoenix on the court. So way to go, Maria.
Yeah, I did not inspect this one, so guys, I don't know if you actually said the name right. All right, Rex of the Week. Look, Bill Simmons making another appearance on Rex of the Week.
He always makes an appearance on the Rex of the Week because his mom was on his podcast for the first time ever, and it was
What did
hilarious.
she talk about? Was it just all Boston, or?
It was just like movies and just like Bill Simmons kid stories, and it
Uh,
explains a lot about why he is the way he is.
the way, why are you the way you are? Just reminds me of The Office there. All right, Instagram update. Oh man, this one was tough. This one
It
was
was
tough.
especially for you.
Yeah. Chris, the Dino Bosch, retiring last week for the Miami Heat. Had his jersey hung up in the rafters. I actually, no kidding, last night, I had a dream that after that happened, Chris Bosch actually played in that game for the Heat and hit a game winning shot. I'm not even kidding. I literally had that dream last night.
That's incredible.
Like, oh man. Like, I just loved what Chris Bosch brought to the Miami Heat during those years with LeBron there and Dwayne Wade and kind of that big three era. It was a fun time in the NBA, I believe, and Chris Bosch was like 95% of that. And plus, he had the huge block shot in the corner to close out and win the NBA championship against the Spurs.
Yeah, I have a lot of vivid memories of him being one of the first big men to shoot the corner three and just
Yeah,
killing my Celtics in the fourth quarter with dagger threes.
never shot the three before, but he was like one of those first big men to kind of start gravitating out there. Like Dirk Nowitzki is like he's kind of different. Like he's just a big guy who's always been able to shoot. But like Bosch is one of the first to kind of like add that to his game as he's been in the league and kind of stretch it out. And now you're seeing more guys like Brooke Lopez, heck Blake Griffin, and some guys like that stretch their games out and add the 3-pointer to their shot. Um, your boy Rob Gronkowski, he's done, but the tributes won't stop for at
I
least
know.
another
I had
year.
to wait a couple days to watch this video because I needed to be in a state of mind where I could cry alone by myself in my room. But yeah, the Gronk tribute video was great, and it's really spurred a whole deep dive into the internet for me. And it also inspired Brady to create his first Twitter account and fake retire on there. I don't think he knows what he's getting into on Twitter because it's a cold, cold
No,
world. Um,
no. I actually
but
didn't know.
yeah,
I didn't know he didn't have a Twitter account.
he,
I
he
just avoid Tom Brady at all times.
This also caused me to find on YouTube someone made "Pull Me Closer" by the Chainsmokers, and they remixed it into a Tom Brady song, and it's really something special. I listen to it all the time now.
I will have to take a listen to it after this. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, my last Instagram update is Jason Tatum Taco Tuesday. The best day of the week that he performs is on Tuesdays, which is Taco Tuesday.
Wow. Tatum, a big fan of the
We know how
tacos.
to motivate him now.
Caliente. All right. Time for our weekly sign off, a 60-second story sponsored by Danny Spiller himself. He puts up the money for this segment every week,
I do.
and he also picks who we're going to talk about every week.
I also do that, don't I?
Yep. But
um,
I'll help you out. What about Chris Bosch?
okay,
Yeah.
just
Did you have
Bosch.
someone different?
Yeah, let's do Bosch.
Let's do Bosch.
What's he
All
doing?
right. I'll start us off. You ready?
Sure.
All right. It was the day of the Mesozoic era, and out of the egg cracked a creature never seen before, a Chris Boschosaurus.
The long-necked Boschosaurus screeched into the air, announcing to the other dinosaurs that their reign on Earth is coming to an end.
Boschosaurus reigned over the rest of the dinosaurs for many a year to come, before a meteor, aka LeBron, came came to smash him down
And wiped out
into a third star.
all of the other dinosaurs except for the Boschosaurus.
only the Boschosaurus remained, and it remained dormant for many a year until the year 2010 when it came out and on a stage in Miami and announced that they will be winning not one, not two, not three. Boschosaurus coming soon in the next Jurassic World movie.
I love
It'll
it.
be
That was.
Chris Pratt with Boschosaurus. It'll be
I'll
great.
be
It'll be
rooting for
great.
Boschosaurus.
Always Boschosaurus. All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. We will make sure to actually get this podcast up earlier this week.
Yeah.
So for your viewing pleasure, I will be in Minneapolis next week. We'll see if we can crank out another podcast while I'm there. But until then, keep it real. Keep it real, floppers.
Keep it real, guys.